we are then. Welcome back to Watch the Skeet. Today's guest is Clara Issac, triathlon entrepreneur, eco-warrior, and an all-round overachiever. I'll keep going, it's fine. Overachiever in the best way. She picked up triathlon in 2024, casually winning both island events, including the Isle of Man Championships. By the end of that year, she had completed her first Ironman in just over 5 hours, and also got the great news of being selected for the Island Games. When she's not outpacing everyone, she's running Recycle Collect Limited, an eco-focused business with the environment close to the core. Oh, and she also won the Institute of Directors Startup Director of the Year in 2023, which is another incredible achievement. So what's the skeet, Clara? How are we?
Yeah, good, thank you. What a great introduction.
Yes. You found your way to Ballabeg, okay?
Yeah, it was, easy to find. Come past it all the time.
Yeah, every day.
Every day. You cycle past this all the time.
So do you cycle on the road then?
Yeah.
Like when you said on the way in, you did 4 hours cycling today.
Yeah.
Is that not on a bike in a room watching telly?
No, God, we're getting into it, aren't we? No, it's bikes on the road. And, I've ridden bikes for quite a while, on and off. But with triathlon training, you have to get out and cycle on the road. And I'm sure you can imagine there are some people who hate cyclists on the road.
Yeah, I'm probably involved in that category.
I can understand both sides of things, because being a cyclist and a driver myself, I understand it can be a pain if you're late, and I'm a really late person.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, all the time. And it's I need to get past this cyclist, but also I think calm down, Clara, you live on the Isle of Man. Where are you going in such a rush? Just leave 3 minutes earlier or 30 seconds earlier and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
But then from other people, I think some people just hate cyclists.
Yeah.
Do you know what? They have a hatred for them, and I've had some people hurling some crazy abuse.
I was just going to ask you that.
Madness. I've had some people tell me to get off the road, F some blinds, and I don't know what to say. Oh, I've had someone tell me in a car driving past, she's like, get on the effing cycle path. And it's, the Gansey cycle path. And it's like a death trap.
Yes.
And I didn't know what to say, and it flustered me, and so I just went, no, you! And I'm like, she's in a car.
You're in a car.
How are you getting on
But that would be
path?
stressful, Clara.
But I understand, because it is annoying.
Yeah.
But I'm just me on my own, or officially on the highway code, you are meant to ride side by side if you're with two people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
you're meant to ride
you're
side
meant
by side.
And
why is that?
I know people think that's really bizarre.
That is bizarre. I've never heard that before.
Say there's two people side by side.
Yeah.
You're smaller, so you're shorter, and you can nip around them quicker. But if you have one behind each other, you still have to go over the line to overtake them. Or if you want to squeeze really close by them, there's a chance you're probably going to take them off. And then I just think,
I'd never thought of that.
Yeah, it takes longer. If you think I become a longer train then, rather than a short stubby train, I become a long train.
Right. That's a bizarre way to... That's a fact of the day, I think.
There you go. And it is safer. It's so much safer. And for me, as a cyclist, I think, I feel so much more comfortable riding alongside someone rather than someone trying to squeeze past me. Because if someone tries to squeeze past me at 50 miles an hour and knocks me off, I'm dead. I've got a family, a husband. I'm totally out for the count. And
definitely not in a good way.
No, you're not. Is it worth it?
That's a question.
Is it worth it?
But is this all something that triathletes face? These problems that...
Oh, yeah.
Have you only been cycling since you started triathlon?
So I've done a bit of mountain biking and I've done a little bit, but no, not really. I wasn't really in anything. I wasn't a cyclist, a swimmer or a runner. Did a bit of running just for fun.
Yeah.
But that, triathlon was a new thing for me.
Okay.
So I had to get into the whole cycling on the roads, but my dad was a cyclist, so I had that, and my husband was a cyclist, so I had that.
Bit of push,
someone to help me, but it was something I realised. People think you can only ride on the road if you're Mark Cavendish, but how do you get to be Mark Cavendish?
Without riding on the road.
You've got to ride on the road.
Yes.
Mark's so good.
Yes.
Because he had to train on the road.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So people think that you're not allowed to ride unless you're top of the game. But some of these guys, there is some amazing talent on the Isle of Man. They've got to get there. Give them some grace. Give them a bit of
Yeah,
room.
and they want to represent the island, don't they?
Have some patience. And please, cyclists, I love you, but just wear bright clothes. I know black is cool, but bright clothes are so much cooler.
So much safer.
So much safer. Health and
So
safety.
where did this actually all begin? We've jumped the gun here. I jumped the gun there by going on about. So you went down a bit of a hole there. Where did this all begin here? Where did this triathlon idea actually start?
I think it was a midlife crisis.
You're not that old, are you?
Yeah, 33. So
That's nowhere near me.
Is that
An early midlife crisis.
Maybe it's like a
A quarter life
third
crisis.
life crisis or something.
Interesting. Okay.
But I'd broken my leg. Yeah, this is
Right.
really random.
Yeah,
But
that is bizarre.
And it was actually just rolling an ankle on a curb, and I actually fractured my leg. And I was just doing loads of running at the time, and then fractured my leg. And I said to my husband, "Can I get on the turbo on the bike?" So like stationary bike at the house. So he put that on, and I refused to go to the hospital.
Oh dear.
And I didn't go, and then I started riding, and then I did something over here called the Fondo, which is like a 4-hour ride, and I did it with a broken leg. And then
that's wise.
it was not clever, and then decided to go to hospital, and then got told I had a broken leg. And then I just started riding the bike because I couldn't run. And for some random, I don't know what it was, but one day my husband came home from work, and I was like in his wetsuit. I was like, "Let's go swimming."
He probably thought, "What are you on?"
He was like, I think it's really normal for him. So he was like, "Sure, let's go." So he took me down to Port Grenick Beach, and I did my first swim probably since I was 11 years old in this wetsuit in the sea. And it went from there. He was like, I said, "Oh, do you reckon I could get through the May sprint try?" He said, "Yeah, I think you'd be fine. You know, take it easy, you'll get round." So I started swimming, and I was really crap. Still not the best, but you know, like I've given it a good old bash.
Is it tricky? It must be a completely different ball game swimming in the sea.
Yeah, it's scary because it's like something touches you and you're like,
Yeah, I don't like that. No, that ain't for me.
So
That's not for me. That.
You like be swimming along and you'll put your hand through like seaweed or a patch of jellyfish or something.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, it's crazy. But in the pool, obviously, it's a lot cleaner.
When you do triathlon, it's in the sea.
No, so over here you do it in the Morag Park, you know, the lake.
Yes.
So you do it in the Morag Lake. May sprint tries in Ramsey swimming pool.
Okay.
But if you go away to race, sometimes it's in the sea. So we just raced in Croatia, and that was in the sea. And I was batting through jellyfish, and I'd be swimming along. Oh, this is nice. And the next bit, bang, just a patch of jellyfish.
Okay. Are they stingy?
They weren't stingy ones. Them ones, no. But then other times it can be in a lake, nice beautiful lake.
Yeah.
So yeah, it varies really.
Have you ever worried about not being able to touch the floor?
No, you got to get on with it. You got to be dead brave. And
Yeah.
that's hard coming from a non-swimmer, because I was an absolute non-swimmer. I think I'd done like my green certificate at swimming. Do you know?
Yeah, I'm probably on par with you there.
Like
I'd
that.
drown, I think.
Yeah, it was terrible. And God bless my friends, like coming swimming with me, like sticking it out.
And you're there doing breaststroke.
I was
Nice and steadily through the sea. Just.
I could get there. I could get there. You've just got to really like get some serious grit, and there could be anything underneath you, and you've just got to.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
When you're looking down, are the waters you're swimming in just by the shore, or are you actually out in the sea?
So a bit of both. It depends where you are. So the Morag Lake's really shallow, believe it or not. It comes probably up to your hips. So
Oh, really?
when you look down, you just see like either nothing because there's a cloud of like mud dust, but there is eels in the Morag Park, in the Morag Lake. They're not like nasty eels, not going to bite you.
Yeah.
So you see nothing, but you just swim along. The next minute, an eel shoot across your face, and you can't see a lot. But then when we were in Croatia, it was quite clear. Do you know?
It's hot there too.
It was at that time.
No
yeah,
sharks,
it was in
though, no.
September.
No
No
sharks.
sharks. But that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
No.
No.
Well, it
Friendly
depends what you call
sharks.
cool. It'd be a great story.
It would be, but you don't, because you're racing. I think so when you race Ironman, or I race 70.3, so that's half Ironman.
Okay.
There is thousands of people racing at the same time, like thousands.
All in the sea.
All at the same time, and you've got to go a certain way.
That must be a completely different thing than swimming by yourself.
Carnage. People are like hitting you, pushing you, swimming over you. But you can find, as soon as you get into a rhythm, you can find like your own direction, find your own little path. And it's actually not as bad as you think. And that's coming from someone who has no swimming background.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it.
Was that the hardest discipline for you then, swimming?
Oh, yeah. Like, still is. I have to graft and graft
Challenging.
with my swimming. Yeah, it's so tough. And if you're not a natural swimmer, like you haven't done it since you were like a little kid, yeah, it's a tough ask. But I've improved so much in just a year, and that is just by being like completely consistent, like training religiously.
How often? In
So
the
I
sea
swim
or swimming.
Swimming in the pool, so especially over winter, I will swim maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Maybe 2 to 2.5k a day. In the summer, maybe 5 times a week, with one of them being a lake swim. So we were up at the lake in the week.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
Oh,
It's
right.
nice and warm.
Is the lake's warm?
Yeah, honest to God, it's warm.
Wow.
When the sun's out, it heats up quite quick. So it's so shallow.
Yeah.
And you've got a wetsuit on. So
Do wetsuits even work though? Because whenever
it's
I
not a
wore them when I was
dry-
a kid, I was still cold.
Yeah, I guess maybe like I'm a bit fleshier than when I was a kid. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? So maybe that keeps you a bit warmer.
Bit more insulation.
Bit more insulation.
Without sounding rude there.
But it does actually keep you quite warm. Promise.
Right. I'd be in
think
there
if
with
you
me
try it
speedos,
again-
right? Let's go. Get through this.
You
blooming
wouldn't.
water. I'd be blowing. You'd see me in the sea and I'd just be like,
Do you know? Well, there is people who do sea dips.
yeah.
And we have to start sea dipping. So when we race in Orkney in July, the average water temperature is 12 degrees.
I
right?
love that.
That's
I love cold water.
Mad. Do you?
Yeah, I get in cold water every morning.
Oh, I need to start doing that. I need to get on board because
It makes you feel so good.
it does make you feel
After.
good. Yeah.
It's that mental challenge of getting in there.
We've got to swim in. So they'll shorten the swim if
Yeah.
it is too cold, but swim and then get straight out, freezing cold, onto the bike, transition, off you go. Probably going to be cold. You'll be fine. Go for it.
Wow. So then so then onto Orkney
Yeah.
Island Games. Right. Where did that begin then? So you've just done triathlon for a year?
Yeah, so I
2 years?
did the first one in May. 'Cause I was like, I'm going to just get round. I can do this.
Okay.
I've got this.
Yeah.
And then I won, and it was really weird because I did not expect it. I finished at the end. I was like to my husband, I did it. And he looked at me. He was like, are you kidding? Like,
What's going on here?
What? And he was like, you've done an hour 9. He was like, you've won it. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. I was just going along, like,
Cruising.
having a great time. And then from there, he was like, well, why didn't you race with me in London? Because he was doing the T100 in London. So I was like, sure, I'll
What's a
give it a go.
T100, by the way?
So that's a 100-kilometer race. So it's like a half Ironman, but
Broken up.
diced up differently.
Okay, talk me through that a little bit. I'm listening because I know nothing about this. I'm a completely.
Oh, cool. So Ironman is like a 140-mile race. So half Ironman is what they call 70.3. So it's exactly half of your full Ironman.
Okay.
T100 is a new kind of like race category or race sponsor. I don't know what they're called, but
Right.
that is similar to half Ironman, but it's 100 kilometers. So I think the bike and run are maybe ever so slightly shorter. But they're like all
So
over the
what's
world.
the split?
So
Like 10 kilometres swimming. Surely you can't be swimming for 40 kilometres.
no, not for 40
Hell,
kilometers.
you'd be bugged.
For half Ironman, I'm not sure what it is for. Well, half Ironman is half of what the full is.
Yeah.
So half Ironman, it's a 1.9 kilometer swim, a 56-mile bike, and then a half marathon. So
Half marathon. A marathon's 42 kilometres, 46?
oh, I don't know. God.
So you're talking like
I'm not very good at
mid-20s.
quick maths.
Neither am I. That makes two of us. Mid-20s run anyway. Mid-20k run.
Something sounds about right.
Yeah.
Don't know if it does.
Wow.
But then Ironman is obviously you end with a full marathon. It's a 112-mile bike and a 3.8 kilometer swim.
That's nuts.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's a bit
so
much for
many
me.
People do that, but that's really popular. But Orkney is standard distance, so I guess you can break it down. There's a super sprint triathlon, which is like extra short and extra fast. Never done it. Don't know how fast it is, or short it is. I think it's 400-meter swim.
Oh, that would do me nicely.
Yeah, okay, 400-meter swim, and then I think it might be like a 2 or 3k run. Fine.
Okay.
you
Yeah,
can do
bearable.
that. And I think the bike is maybe, don't know, I want to say like 10k or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. But then sprint in May, so the sprint that's coming up next weekend.
Yeah, are you competing in it?
I'm racing
Practice.
in that. Yeah. Got to get going. It's our first race of the season.
Oh, is that when the season starts? Is it May?
Starts for us, yes, but most people probably can start around April time.
Why is that different? Why do the seasons
you can
differ?
Run, you make your own season basically. So I could run a season from April to September, or I could run a May to September season.
Okay.
Some people, if they live
Don't worry, that's all right.
if they live in America, might run a later season. So maybe you'd run a July to December season. So our season, we tend to run from a May to September.
Right.
So the sprint is always our first one, and that's a 750-meter swim in the pool.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
Decent.
Then the bike is 12 miles up north. Relatively flat, just a little bit up Bride Hill.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Sunny
12
Bride.
miles, yeah. And then 5K run.
Oh.
Sounds great.
Warms you into it nicely then.
Yeah, I guess so, if it is warm. But then
A nice warm up to the season, I mean.
nice warm up to the sea, definitely warm up. Because it's a short and gets your transitions going and stuff like that.
Short and snappy.
Yeah, standard distance, which is what you race. So that's what they call Olympic distance.
And that's what you'll be doing in Orkney?
That's what Orkney is. So that's a double a sprint distance. So 1.5 kilometre swim, a 25-mile bike or 26-mile bike, and then a 10K run.
Right, okay.
So
That's a little bit longer.
It's a little bit longer, but it's like that bridge between sprint distance and half Ironman, and it's hard because it's fast, but it's still quite long. So in Orkney, the swim is 1.5 kilometres, but there's a regulator which says basically if it's below 15 degrees, they have to start shortening the swim because it's too dangerous.
People get hypothermia.
Yeah, and when we were in Croatia, there was someone who died in the swim and stuff.
True.
Yeah, because if you don't know, you don't have a heart problem or something, you're in the middle of the ocean. Yeah. Get your heart screened. Craig's Heartstrong Foundation.
I need to go get my heart screened, I think,
that.
before I start competing in these.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah. That'll be my next obsession. I'm a bugger because I'll start doing something.
Yeah.
I'll be like, right, I'm all in. You know what I mean? I'm all in. I'll be like, right, let's go triathlon. And I'll be all over the place triathlon. And I'll be like, I'm bored of this now. Let's do something else.
Would you?
Yeah.
But you can't really with triathlon.
No, you have to be committed, and it's so varied. That's what I like. That's what I quite like about the
don't get bored.
little bit that I know about it.
Yeah.
I've only ever watched it on the telly, really.
Yeah.
But you never get bored, do you? Because you're always doing different things. And is that what you like about it?
Yeah, I love it. You know, I'd done horses my whole life.
Yeah.
And then maybe I am very similar to you.
Yeah.
I'd done horses my whole life and hammered it, so went hard. And then I did running for quite a bit, but just for fun and to keep fit and have a nice time. And then triathlon, it almost broke all my rules, and it was a bit you've now got 3 things to do, 3 things to train. There's always something different.
Busy.
But it's just so nice. The community is amazing.
Yeah, it's positive, isn't it?
It's so positive, and it's like a challenge. If you set yourself a triathlon, it's like a personal challenge. It's not you think you see a bike race or a running race. It's oh my God, fighting for first place.
Yeah.
But triathlon's more go out and do the best that you can do and set your own time, beat your own time. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Does anyone go hell for leather?
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you were jumping in, when you go to Orkney, right? How would you approach obviously you're training, but how would you approach competition like that? Are you on the start line ready to go in for your dip?
Yeah.
Are you running like stink to get in the sea, dive in and just get going flat out?
You are, but that's mostly for me. I'm not a very competitive person anymore, and I think.
But you're winning things, you must be.
No, I'm not. I do it because and that's so funny you say for me, it's the training. You know, you give me a block, a 12-week, 16-week, a year's block of training. I'm just going to tick that training off, and I'm going to love every minute. Yeah. I'm going to do it with my pals. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to just get it done, have a great time. The race for me is not something that I feel I have to do. It's just, it just comes with it. And so I go on the day knowing that I've put the work in. I'm just going to do the best that I can do on the day, and I don't care who's around me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do whatever I can.
You almost enjoy the journey rather than the destination.
100%. That is exactly it. I love the training. I wouldn't even have to race if I.
I mean, that is a great quality to have, I would say.
Yeah, I think a competitive nature
Yeah.
can bring so much stress.
Yes,
It's not my job.
I mean, I'm
This is not my job.
very competitive person, Clara.
yeah.
You're very.
But why?
But I'm trying to get my head around what you're saying there, and
What is it that makes people like? What are we trying to achieve? And this might seem like so stupid and airy-fairy, but when I sit back and I think, what am I trying to do? Like, what does being competitive get me? Rather than, at the time it feels great, like, yes, I beat people.
Yeah.
But why do you feel the need to beat people?
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you there. The attitude I have to it is probably not the best.
See, now instead flip it round was, this is my personal best. What do I need to do to better myself? And then work on, like, improving yourself rather than going out to beat other people.
Yeah, because then you might be disappointed if you don't win.
Well, who cares? What's it mean to you?
Yeah, you got to be laid
it's not
back,
your job,
haven't
is
you?
it?
No,
Yeah.
100%.
If it's your job, maybe that's a different story. If winning means a paycheck or not, then I'm sure it's a completely different.
So you aren't going to Orkney to win?
I will go to Orkney to do the best that I can, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a great way to be.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
and
quality.
if I'm not the best on the day, like, I know myself, I physically couldn't do, as a relatively new triathlete.
Yeah, very, very new.
The training that I do, I physically couldn't do any more or any better. And I have good days and I have bad days, good weeks and bad weeks. But when I turn up on the start line, I know that for the past 12 months, I have just put the best preparation in
Committed.
that I could put, 100% committed.
You're all in.
That what comes out of the day is a result of the hard work I've put behind. And if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well.
Who cares? As long as you're happy.
As long as I'm happy.
Well, I mean, that's commendable.
And have a great time.
So where's that Luke then? So you go from the Isle of Man. They've said to you, right, you represent the Isle of Man.
Yes.
They get you there.
So we do have to self-fund part of it. So the Manx Tri Club will help, which is incredible. And the sprint triathlon that we've got next week is actually a fundraiser. So there's 10 triathletes that are going. But not only is that us, if you think there's so many other sports all trying to raise money to get there, because it's expensive. Flights, boat, travel, stay when you're there, accommodation.
How long are you there for?
So the triathletes are there for about 4 to 5 days. But if you're a swimmer, example, like, your races can be all week. So you'll be there maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 days. So everyone's trying to fundraise to make it, like, more attainable for people.
Yeah.
But, it's, it is a financial commitment from you.
Definitely.
But, I think it's
such, worth it,
isn't it? It's such, like, I don't know, I feel like it's so kind of them to ask me.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. I'm so grateful to be asked to represent.
Is that tick, though? Is that a tick off in your box?
Well, the Island Games are in the Isle of Man in 2029.
I know. I'm so excited for that.
Are you going to do triathlon?
Yeah.
Yes!
I'm going to drown in Port Air and Sea.
Yes!
Yes.
So
I'm going to die there.
2029. So 2029, we're doing triathlon Island Games here on the Isle of Man. So I will still be a relatively alive human in 4 years' time.
So that's
I won't be that old.
But that would be the tick.
So I'd love to do the Island Games at the Isle of Man. Yeah,
That's almost historical.
It is historical.
Yeah,
it definitely
a
is.
historical bit of. Do
you know what'd be even more historical is if you did it in budgies.
Yeah, that's me. I'll tootle round at the back with a pair of budgies on.
No, you got to be at the front. You got to be at the front, ready to sprint for the start line.
Oh,
but that's
with a pair of Manx budgies on.
A pair of Manx budgies on.
Let's go. I'm keen.
4 years of training, like, you'll smash it. It'll be great.
So if you're doing the Island Games, then is the next step for you the Commonwealth Games?
Is
that realistic?
For me, I don't think that's realistic. Like, some of my friends say to me that is realistic, but I think
it's not a goal that you want to achieve, is what I'm trying to ask.
No, none of this was any goal that I wanted to achieve at all, to be honest with you. It just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, you're that laid back, you're almost horizontal, I would say, Clara.
I know, but I think triathlon for me is a way to like personal growth and setting myself a challenge that I never thought that I would do, because if you told me a year ago that I'd be swimming, I would have told you you're absolutely out of your mind. There was no way I'd be swimming, but it's definitely personal growth, and I just want to, like, go around, set myself challenges, get the best time I can at half Ironman, see some cool places, race with cool people. Myself and my husband do it together.
That's
so, like,
cool.
He was my inspiration for this.
That's cool.
So we just go around racing together, getting old, having a great time.
Amen.
Amen.
That is, I mean, I can't say much else there. That sounds tremendous to me.
It does. And so many people race like half Ironman now. It's like dead popular.
I don't.
It does take a lot of time, though.
Yeah, well, it's I think as you get older, you're not as interested in going out on the beers all the time, are you? You're better off spending your time doing other things.
God, yeah. I haven't been out on the beers
noticed?
since I was 20, so that's like 13 years ago. So I got dead boring, dead quick.
Yeah,
but
I'm getting
maybe
boring.
triathlon is my way to make me feel unboring.
Why did you say you got boring at 20?
So I
What changed?
stopped drinking when I was 20, and that was because I was like at the time ready to like focus on my career.
Yeah.
Drinking wasn't contributing to my health at all.
No.
Neither was partying.
Yeah.
So I kind of ditched the drink, got my head into the books, worked really hard, and then just never went back to it.
Did you study?
Yeah, so when I was 18, studied to be an accountant with a local firm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was dead young, 18.
Yeah.
I was probably dead funny when I was 18 because I used to love Blue Wicked and fake tan.
Yeah!
And
Proper
then
18-year-old.
Yeah, it was. And the Outback, yeah! Loved it!
There
That
at
was
4 in the
me.
morning, lights come on, you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, that was... And then I hit 20 and I just got like dead. I don't know. I just... maybe just hyper-focused on career.
Okay.
And I did hyper-focus, and by the time I was like 21, I was like fully qualified.
Okay.
Working, wanted to better myself.
Okay, so you say you're very self-driven.
Yeah, I am really. Maybe there wasn't a competitive side to that either.
Just wanted to beat yourself.
Just wanted to like get better.
All right, so then you talk about this career. So where did that? Talk me about that side of this. Where?
So,
anyone, you've just got your accountancy qualifications.
yeah.
Where's the route looking like there to now?
So I thought I'd just be like an accountant for my rest of my life, and it'd be really nice because I loved it. And I know it sounds dead sad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it is dead sad. But I absolutely loved it, and I had like an amazing job, and I had amazing people around me. I met my husband when I was studying, which was super cool as well.
That is
so
cool.
we was like, yeah, that was.
So you guys are very aligned.
We are very aligned. But do you know what's really annoying? I have to get this in.
Yeah.
People think that I am the high maintenance, hard to deal with one. Okay, and they're like, "Oh my god, Andy is so chill." No, he's not. I am so laid back.
Someone's going to
so
be in trouble
chill.
when they listen to this.
Yeah, like I am the cool laid back one, and Andy is not chill, but he is very talented. So maybe that's where it swings.
Well, you guys seem like you're just on a life mission together.
Yeah, we are. It's really great.
That is very cool.
But then we took it one step further, and I had this like mad career change when maybe this was my third life crisis. I had this mad career change because I set up Recycle Collect when I was still working.
Just going to get into that.
And yeah, that was like madness. I don't even know what possessed me to be so chaotic, but I did it. And
so what possessed me to be so chaotic?
I'm a mad woman, and it was the maddest journey, or still is quite a mad journey, but at the beginning it was the maddest journey of my life. And setting it up, the anxiety and stress and everything I felt about it was crazy. And I rode that for like a year, and maybe 2 years before it started to like settle down. I felt comfortable.
Right, so what age was this at?
So I must have been 29 when I started Recycle.
So you were accounting
from 18.
Accounting
from 18 to 29, and in between that time.
And what did you learn? What did you learn that made you sort of want to take this path of Recycle Collect Limited? What did those skills teach you to be able to do that?
Do you know what that was? Right, remember when COVID kind of forced everyone in, and everyone started watching all the David Attenborough documentaries, and we just went down big rabbit holes of watching more and more documentaries.
I love rabbit holes.
Yeah, I came out of COVID like, oh my God, I have to save the planet. It has to be me single-handedly, and I have to get it done.
Yes.
So I thought, like, would I maybe go and work on a ship that saved whales? Or, you know.
Right, you're going on a real mad one.
Oh,
you
we
were
were
on a
mad
you were
ones,
down
yeah.
a real rabbit hole there.
My husband was like, my legacy will be that I will save the whales.
Yes.
And that was exactly the rabbit hole I went down. And then when I started going down the rabbit hole, it was actually it became a bit more practical that, oh my God, like, let's not even go that far. Why don't we just take our first tiny step? The Isle of Man haven't even got the basic sorted out. And that was recycling, because that was so basic.
Recycling here on the Isle of Man at one point, when I was a child, was practically non-existent.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Douglas, like, had it all set up, and it worked really, really well. But, like, the rest of the Isle of Man didn't. And so when I didn't live in Douglas, I was like, I just want to do the basic thing. And then me being an accountant went eco brain one, and then obviously economic brain other. And it was like, we are just doing the worst thing for the Isle of Man.
Yes.
Someone needs to do this. And so I got chatting to people, and they were like, no one does it. And so I said to Andy, I was like, I think I'm going to do it. And I think he thought, go on there, crazy woman.
Have a go.
So I wrote a business plan, and he was like, this is like really good. It's got legs. And then from that, I guess it just escalated. And the next minute I was like leaving my job and hiring people and collecting
that must have
recycling.
been weird.
That was so weird.
How did it weird from... hang on, let me think.
How
this
did
through.
it weird?
How did it get... How was that transition from working for someone to then being the boss and having to hire people?
Do you know what I found? Like, the hardest thing was maybe public perception. Which I didn't think
What does that mean?
So what people thought of you and thought of your business. So for me, I always thought, I don't really care what people think of me.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, when I built this business, I cared every inch about what they thought about my business, about what they thought about what I was doing. I really, really cared. It would keep me up at night. Someone would write something on Facebook. I would feel sick.
Anxious.
There was definitely, I want to say more like, that's my child.
Yeah.
Like, protective. That's my baby
Yeah,
duck.
well, that's what I feel about this in a way.
I do. I was like, please don't come for my baby duck. Like, I've worked so hard on this. I know it's going to be amazing. And I think people didn't really understand the premise as, like, I knew it was a great job for people, and I wanted it to be like this new era of workplace where people really loved coming to work. It was task to finish. It was light. It was fluffy. It was doing a good thing. I mean, it's obviously not fluffy because you're basically like collecting
rubbish.
But I want the atmosphere to be fluffy.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we're professionals.
Yeah.
But like, we're kind, we're fun. It's a laugh. No one should be coming to work like this. Oh, I hate work.
Yeah.
I want it to be like, no, you are valued here. You are loved. You are amazing. You do a good job, and I think you're awesome.
Yeah, so how big has this got to then?
So we are now, there's 7 of us.
Explain to me. 7?
Yeah, 7 of us, and there's 4 vehicles, and they collect all across the island with the exception of Douglas, and they collect commercially for some like mega commercials. They collect for Braddon commissioners, Arbery, Rushen, Bride, Santon commissioners, like
nice.
Formed partnerships.
Like that.
And it's just like, I am like the proudest parent.
Get in there.
But it's just, I don't know how I found 6 such amazing people.
Yeah.
But I just ended up with this like bunch of incredible people who run this incredible business. They do an incredible job.
So do you do much hands-on work?
I was at the beginning.
Now have you sort of taken a step back and look at it from a different perspective?
Yeah, I do very much the backseat job. And I guess for me, recycle wasn't a job for me that I needed because I have a job. We have a software company as well. That we run.
Okay.
So it wasn't a job that I needed. It was a job that I wanted.
Yep.
And when I made it the job that I wanted people to experience how I felt. So then really it was a more, well, here, you have this job. I'm here to support you. I will do anything for you.
Yes.
Now you guys take this over, and they have,
Wonderful. That's the game, isn't it? But how did that make you feel then? if you say you wanted people to feel how you felt,
Yeah.
how did you feel?
Just like,
When you're doing this, do you feel good about helping the environment or making a change
yeah.
or making a difference?
I mean, there's all of that's probably like the core number one, but like strip it away from that. Think of a workplace that you go in and like more about the culture rather than about what it is that you do for the job. So what you do for the job is obviously, you know, it was making a huge impact, and it is, and we publish all the stats on it. But now think of a workplace culture where, you know, in my head, I think, right, what would I want from a workplace and where would I like to work? And then I try to like embody it and recycle.
Manifest it.
And it has come out exactly where I wanted it to be.
Perfect.
But it's even better.
Yes.
Sounds stupid. But like
doesn't sound stupid at all.
The people who work for me are people who probably when we started, you know, they started off as, yeah, cool, I'll come and do a few days for you. And then at next minute it's like, yeah, I'll run your business and I'll run the job and and they're like boss women.
Yes.
And I know that's such a cringe thing to say.
Well, I mean, we are in 2025.
They're grown women, like they know how to do the job. Why do I need to be micromanaging them? I don't. Get in, girls, do your job, go home, you're brilliant, I love you, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. You sort of let them run it. It almost runs itself.
Yeah, because it's an opportunity for them. Like, I don't want the opportunity. I want to give someone the opportunity.
Yes.
So recycle was a passion project, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
And with that respect, I want people to really benefit from it and do amazing.
Okay. So then the recycle project fit. When do you think that was sort of? You talked about that 1 or 2 years of riding the wave of stress.
Yes.
When did that last till?
I'd say the first 2 years were really tough, and then I promoted my manager Laura, and when she got her teeth really into it, I was just like, wow, you're amazing.
Let's go.
And like, yeah, go. And then all the girls just, they're all women who work on it.
Right.
They just click so well. And don't get me wrong, like people
women
think, oh my God, women.
Women environments can be tricky.
You
normally
think
all
that.
think that. Yeah, I've got nothing against
but
it.
But I'm like, no, like we speak out, we say exactly what we think.
Communicate correctly.
Yeah, if you think that we're being a shitty human being today, tell us we're being shitty. Because we're going to be, you're going to have good days and bad days.
Oh, yeah, well, it's like anything. It's like with your training, you have good weeks and bad weeks.
Good weeks and bad weeks. Be there for each other. If you're an arsehole one day, just say, I'm so sorry, I'm an arsehole today. I'm sorry. Like, bear with me. I'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just being dead open and also when you are having a good day, like,
being an arsehole.
I'm
an arsehole every day.
Same. But thankfully I can lock myself in a room.
Yeah.
But
nice.
you've got to, and then most of the time I think they're just dead funny.
Yeah.
The girls have got like the best sense of humour, and I'll get like voice notes sometimes from them, and they're just like this,
squawking.
I don't know what's going on. Lauren's on the floor laughing.
Yeah, and you think
like,
they're having a good day.
I love that though. I just want them to have like the best time and the best life.
I love that. But what year would you say this was then? When did Laura start take managing and
Probably been 2 years. So what 2020?
Oh, so I see a link here.
Yeah.
Your mission was sort of complete with the.
So I took up triathlon.
So you took up triathlon.
Oh my God, I'm a crazy lady.
You needed a mission.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I'm mission focused.
You needed another mission.
But we all need a mission. We all need a purpose.
Otherwise you feel useless, don't you?
Do you know what's great about the girls is obviously I train like so much. And you don't have to train that much to be a triathlete, by the way. You know.
Yeah, you are scaring me.
Yeah, if you do half Ironman,
you're definitely scaring me.
I want to do like really, really good for myself. But you don't have to. Not everyone is a crazy person like me. Well, most triathletes are maybe. Yeah. But you don't need to do that much. You know, like have a good run, have a good bike, do a couple of swims, you'll be grand. But the girls are like so supportive of me.
They're more like mates than work colleagues, really.
They're amazing. So my work day probably looks different to people, and that might set people on the back foot. Like, oh,
do you work in the morning or at night?
So I train in the morning and I work later. So I would start work probably after lunch, whereas for most people start in the morning.
Yes.
And then being like a business, there's two businesses, actually 3 businesses.
Yeah.
But that for us means that work isn't really Monday to Friday. It's like round the clock, so to speak. But that fits in quite well with us with training, especially because we're both, on the job.
Yeah.
So we will like train in the morning, and that might mean that sometimes I'm going out on the bike for 4 hours whilst the girls are at work. But they just like are the best, so supportive. They're like, "You go, girl, you got this." And then
this is an environment I'm used to hearing about. An
Well,
all women environment that works really, really well, and you guys seem to be doing so good there.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
I think
it sounds tremendous to me when you're saying it, but you must have faced challenges along the way.
I still face challenges every day. I can't tell you.
What challenges have you faced with Recycle Collect?
I think you don't realise how much like vehicles can like, upset the whole shebang. That it runs on a very, very, it's almost like clockwork recycle. So as soon as you take a vehicle out the mix, it's like all hell breaks loose, and you've got to pull things out the bag to try and make it happen.
Yeah.
But like that's one thing I'd say. So most of my girls are from like a farming background or very practical, hands-on background.
Yeah.
And I was in the office, numbers kind of gal.
Yes, computer.
And they were like, get it done. And so what's amazing is when something happens, my head will either go into meltdown or immediate like response emergency mode. And their heads will go, yep, so we'll just change this, and this. That'll be done. Bing, bang, bong. Off we go. And it's like...
Find a solution.
Yeah. That's like our motto. Like, there is no problem. Just tell me the solution. Whatever happens, there's always a solution to it.
What's the worst thing? What's the worst problem that's occurred when the girls have been out in the vans or something like that?
We've had, I mean, it's not going out in the vans, but we've had an amount of vehicles off the road at a certain time.
Yeah.
And we've needed to, like, a certain amount of vehicles to get a contract done. So we'd need, say, 3 vehicles and we'd only had 2. And the girls would be like, yeah, we can do this. Don't worry. Like, we've got it. We can get it done. And they just think of a different plan. They'll move things around to different days. And they're just incredible. It's so...
That is cool.
They are so cool.
Do they collect the bins in the morning, like...
They start at 7:30.
Hang on a second.
It's bin
men,
ladies.
but you always say, "Oh, it's just me bin men coming to get me bin in the morning."
Don't underestimate that. Never underestimate the job of a bin man.
I've done it.
Or have you? Bet that's dead fun.
I was with bin raids there. You know the can raids crew who do that.
Start at 5 and finish at 12.
Yeah, I did 3 days there. I thought, I fancy trying something different here.
Yeah.
So I thought, bugger it, I'll go empty bins for a few days.
How was it?
It was a lot more physical than I ever suspected
so
it to
physical. You've got to be so fit.
I was off the back of that wagon and running like a deer down the road.
Yeah.
And they were driving on. I'm thinking, just wait for me.
No!
I'm running like anything, even trying to catch up. I was like, whoa, boys, I'm not that fast. I'm buggering off, and next minute I'm already at the other bit. Yeah, I was like a flag flapping in the wind behind.
You've got to be super fit. It's a really physical job.
People look down on the job, eh?
You can't, like, it's in all elements as well. I love it because it's almost like I was freed into the outdoors.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, let me roll in shit.
Yes.
Yay. Yes. Give me the bin juice.
Yes, let me roll.
But it was like
in.
an element of freedom, because I was outside all day and it was like the rain was hitting me and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But like that's not really, it doesn't feel like that for people who do the job 365 days a year because there's snow, there's ice, there's rain. Ice causes some serious problems all the time. You can't get to houses to collect.
No, and you're slipping on your arse.
But you've just got to, like, we've had
the
punctures.
Smell, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Out the back of a bin wagon. That was a bit of a nasty one.
Yeah, you can imagine a bin wagon.
So do you not have a bin wagon?
No, so girls work from transit vans. So, and as well, like, it's
I love
recycling.
That saying. Girls work from transit vans.
Vans.
I like that. That's
but
good.
It's recycling, so it's not like filth. Do you know what I mean? It's like rinsed and cleaned and sorted, and it's nice. So they're not like. One thing that can get a bit smelly is like milk cartons. If anyone hasn't rinsed their milk carton,
do you have to? Do you say to people if I'm picking your recycling?
Gotta rinse and flatten your milk cartons.
Oh,
absolutely.
Really? You'd have to tell me that because I'm gonna own up here. I've not done a lot of recycling. I started recycling when I lived away.
Yes.
And it was it was almost a weird experience. I didn't realise how much stuff you actually meant to recycle.
Yeah, and as well, if you put your milk cap on, then you don't rinse your milk carton out. You put the milk cap on, and you put it in your recycling. And 2 weeks later, the girls come to pick up. It can be explosive in the heat. We have had exploding milk cartons.
Imagine getting it exploded.
It's serious.
An old rotten milk can exploded on you.
And it's
all over your face. You're like, oh my god, this is a bad day.
Stinks.
That would make someone an arsehole.
Yeah, I've been in ditches. I've had the van in ditches.
You've had the van in a ditch.
You know, like people who live on farm tracks and slipped off the road into a ditch.
Handy.
Yeah, not handy yet, but I've had that. We've had punctures, obviously, which are never great. But yeah, you know, one of my biggest blessings is my new electric van.
You like an electric van?
I love my electric van, and everyone's like,
yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
So talk me through that. Convince me. Sell me an electric van right now.
Do you know what? I don't wish to sell anyone them. I just wish people to know that it works very well for me personally.
Yeah.
Because I run a diverse fleet because you've got to be prepared for all situations.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So our diesel vehicles are fantastic. They've been amazing. We've had them for so many years. Like for like comparisons before people think they're not like for like comparisons. Same ages, etc., etc. My electric vehicle, it cost me the same amount as my vehicle repairs did for 1 year for 2 vans. Just repairs, right? So it was a no-brainer for me. My fuel, obviously, to fill my electric van, I maybe pay £15 a week for the use of that van, whereas for the other ones, I'm probably paying £70 a week.
Fuel-wise.
So it's an economic decision.
Yeah.
Before anyone goes on about battery life, if my battery is brand new and they should last well over to 20-25 years. I've ran an electric vehicle personally myself for almost 5 years.
Right.
You can now recycle batteries so they can get fixed, and the Isle of Man is getting better with how you transport it across. You know, like, we're in the infancy and we can only get better. We're driving in electric cars. If you don't think technology is going to continuously improve, then you're mad. But for me, it's amazing because it's not, when it's sitting idle and you're in and out collecting for 7 hours, it's not using any energy. It just sits there. It's not spitting anything out in your estate.
Yeah.
It just
cruising.
Just sits there, it's dead quiet, does nothing. So
see, I do like the electric. I like an electric vehicle. There, I like what you're saying there. Actually, with that, the only thing that annoys me about electric vehicles. Now I'm gonna have an opinion here, right?
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Number one, when you're walking along the road, you can't hear them.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Now, as a cyclist, you must have that.
You can, when you're cycling, you can hear the goes like that.
That's a very good sound. Okay.
But you know what? You can hear mine because I'm going like this.
Singing whilst you're going. Singing whilst you're going. Moving.
And Laura messaged me this week, and she said she was crying her eyes out. She said, "I've been driving along in the electric van, and people keep looking at me, and I wondered why. And it's because I'm singing at the top of my voice, and everyone can hear me, but you can't when you're in a normal van."
So that's number one.
Okay. Yeah. Understood.
Danger.
Yeah.
Danger.
Yeah.
Look out. Number two, I don't like where the batteries are made. I don't know much about it, but I don't like where the batteries are made. But I when you look at a diesel vehicle, that's all made probably in the same place.
Yeah, very similar.
So they're actually pretty similar vehicles. I would like to try one.
They are really
I would like
fun.
to try an electric vehicle.
I don't think you can take away the importance. You know, everything has positive and negative. So
100%.
you can't say, like, wipe away all the vehicles and replace them. Like, you can't say that.
I think that's a crazy...
Yeah. I'm very much a err on the side of caution, have a diverse portfolio, and then you're ready for any eventuality.
Yes.
You should have a go.
Everything. I'd like to just try driving one. I've never even driven an electric vehicle.
Yeah, it sounds like a little spaceship.
And you can have a radio full blast.
If you want. You can have...
Yeah. Elbow out the window.
Yeah.
Yes. Cruising around an electric vehicle. Probably look like a right knobhead.
No, it's cool. Well, so many people have them now as well. Yeah. You know...
I actually seen a stat, the other day.
Yeah.
Is there over 2,000 electric vehicles on the Isle of Man? Something like that.
Personally, I know people will grumble. Everyone grumbles about something or other. But there is a serious economic decision behind it, especially
Yeah,
for me as a small business.
Oh, yes.
Like, you've got to fight to survive in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like
Let's go.
dog world.
Find what works for you.
Yeah, damn, I'm going to make things happen. And
That's
if
a
I
great
need to
attitude,
survive,
by the way. That's inspirational.
yeah, I've got to diversify. I've got to keep on my toes.
Yeah.
And if that for me is the best economic decision and also the lowest pollutant and for me personally the best environmentally friendly alternative, damn, I'm going to go for it.
Send it.
Yeah, full send.
So, are you big into eco-friendly things on the Isle of Man? That's sort of like your goal there is to make the Isle of Man more green. Are you a true greenie? Are you a real greenie?
Like to say, so personally,
I've not come
in
across
my
many
heart,
of these greenie type of people.
you?
No.
So personally, in my heart, I am a true greenie for what I believe, but I don't want to push my message onto anyone until I fully understood all the consequences.
Yes.
And for me, recycling was something that I fully understood the consequences and the backing and everything, and I was confident to share that message with other people.
Yes.
But I have to fully satisfy myself with all the research. But I do think, regardless of what anyone says, and everyone's like, oh, we live on the Isle of Man, so, you know, it's dead small and you're not going to make anything happen.
But we don't want to be dumping crap everywhere that could be recycled.
We don't want to be doing silly things. Do you know, that's okay you think like that, but what are your kids going to think?
Yeah.
And why do you want to live somewhere that just lives in this backward society? And imagine if we lived like we used to live and how we used to treat people 100 years ago, and we said, don't worry, the Isle of Man's small, so we can still have slaves and treat people like absolute dirt, but because we're only a tiny percent of the world's population, it's fine.
Yes.
You just can't do that, you know.
Yes.
You've got to move with the times.
Yeah, I agree, moving with the times. I agree, I definitely.
And why wouldn't you want to, like, for me, I am a full greenie because I think I would rather live that way knowing that there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's probably the safest solution. Than doing something that could potentially harm future generations, and I feel sad by doing that.
Right, so I'm going to pick your brain there then. So, we're trying to get to net zero here on the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
I think that is a goal for the Isle of Man. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think we can achieve that?
I think it could be easily achievable, okay? But I'm not here to tell the government how to do their job.
Yes.
But I do think it's a really easily achievable, but I think we're not going for the low-hanging fruit first. So there is a lot of low-hanging fruit, and I think we could really swing for that first. But is it achievable within the time frame set? We should have been doing this a long time ago, do you know?
Yeah.
And as well, a lot of it I don't think is all about this go net zero, go green, blah blah blah. It's why weren't we protecting resources years ago, knowing that we were going to continuously have kids and they have to live with our decisions?
Yeah. Now you see, I'm going to play devil advocate there.
Yeah.
In the sense of,
you don't care about your kids.
I do. I see what you're saying there, obviously. Yeah. And the Isle of Man people do have weird opinions here sometimes.
Yeah. And
like you said before, because we are so small, people wonder, why are we bothering when you have China who are pumping out tons and tons of gas every day?
Yeah. Well,
now, how do you, as somebody who someone who believes deeply in that, motivate yourself to keep going when you think, well, all this hard work and effort that I'm putting into this is just a dot compared to the amount of bad and negative output that they're doing?
Yeah, it definitely is. But you've got to realise as well that they are also turning the biggest corners out of the whole world. So people have focused on the fact that they were the biggest contributors, but that's because us as a world are materially consuming what they're making.
Yes. So
it's our materialistic needs, and we're outsourcing that problem to China.
So that we don't look like we're the ones with the emissions.
But they are making the biggest technological advances than anyone in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And they will make so if our curve is like this to improvement, they will make a foom, and all of a sudden we'll be 10 years ahead, looking back thinking, oh, we were blaming China and now they're the best in the world.
Yeah, because they took the risk of pumping all that out.
Focus on home, because they're focusing on home as well.
Oh, yeah.
And there is good people and bad people who are going to focus on different things all around the world. But do your best in your own vicinity, and what will be from that. You know,
you
can't just live like crap because people in other areas of the world are living like crap. That makes no sense. You know, it's like, I mean, this is getting a little bit more like local, but it's like,
perfect. That's what I was trying to get to.
Like, locally, we can farm so much locally on the Isle of Man, and as a biosphere, and this is probably a big, what I say, a low-hanging fruit. Why are we bringing so much in? And why are we having to export?
Don't even start me on it.
But that is, and people don't connect the dots with green and local and supporting local and supporting local communities and farming. That, if you just close that loop, massive impact, huge impact. And why would you not? If fuck what China's doing.
Yeah.
I don't care what China's doing.
Give them the finger.
If we've closed that loop on the Isle of Man, I'm so proud to live here.
Yeah.
Do you know, China could be doing its own thing.
We're not relying on damn Tesco's to bring all our food over on the boat.
It
just solves so many problems, what you're saying there.
It solves so many, and we can be so self-sufficient on the Isle of Man, and that will help so many people. It will help so many different areas.
I mean, economy as well.
Everything. Like, it helps everything.
That's a good theory.
Yeah, shout out back Manx Farming for that.
Yeah. Great. Shout out to them.
They teach me about all these cool things.
Yes, I can't wait to get my jumper on the wall.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool. But that is exactly the kind of things that we can be doing on the Isle of Man. And so you don't have to be a Greenpeace warrior. No one is saying that. We are saying be responsible with your waste, because it's costing you as the taxpayer a lot of money, especially if you're putting non-burnables in the energy from waste plant. Who do you think is paying to fish that shit out and to clean out all the filters and for the extra energy you've just spent for things that aren't burning?
Yeah.
It's you, the taxpayer, who's paying it. You're paying for all the damage that you cause. Then who do you think suffers when we're the ones having to export farming produce somewhere else and then import stuff from somewhere else?
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. When you literally have it on your doorstep, and your food miles could be tiny if you just ate local. Tiny. We could have the tiniest food miles to anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And for me, I
love
think
that.
just focusing on two very, very simple low-hanging fruits, make everybody recycle, you'll save lots of money and save lots of energy and loads of green points there.
Amen.
And focus locally on your local produce, you'll save loads of money and for the economy as a whole.
Because at the moment it's expensive to buy local, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I do get that, and times are hard for people, but
that will change if we
supported the local stuff.
So it's going to have to go through probably a couple of years of...
It's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
You know, if we keep buying that disgusting antibiotic-fed crap full of water and you don't know where it's come from, because it's saving us money. Now, here's another thing that then feeds into your NHS and how much you're costing the NHS, because you're not going to get the best nutrient. It's going to be impactful on your health. That then in turn costs the NHS or Manx Care more money, because we're all getting unhealthier and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's and now look what we've done. Not only have we then made people more healthy and feel better about themselves,
100%.
You know, that will also have green credentials as well, because you're spending less resource, less energy.
Yeah.
It can all...
Do you think the Isle of Man's moving that way? Do you think we are on the right path, honestly?
I think there are some incredible people on the Isle of Man who can really lead some amazing direction. I don't know if it could be one person.
But do you believe we're on the right way, on the right direction?
I think we're...
Or do we need a bit of a wake-up call?
I think we privately are in the right direction, and I think we're very lucky to have private leaders flying that flag. But I think everyone needs to get behind that and see the impact as a total whole.
Yeah.
You know, not just what we do with our waste, huge thing. What we do with our food, our NHS, how we're creating our energy.
Yeah.
What we're pumping out around people who live in those means, you know, what they're breathing in. And I know that sounds wild, but that'll affect their health, will affect this.
Yeah.
So many moving pieces. But yeah, I would like to think as such a small island, we could absolutely get there. You just got to have people like really champion that cause.
Yeah, pushing it.
And if that means setting up private enterprises, if that means setting up private charities, then I think that's what's going to be done.
Some of it's communication, isn't it? It's communicating to the public what you've just said there.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it explained like that before, to be perfectly honest.
Don't listen to everything you read on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. It's so negative, and it's not representative of the whole population.
No.
You know, and you can get really sad and down about what you read on Facebook, and you can read it as if it's truth, because you read it and you're like, oh my God, that's a person from my local community and I trust them. But, you know, you need to understand where they're getting their information from. And there's so many different views.
Bigger picture.
There's a big picture.
I love that, Clara.
Yeah.
That sort of leads us very, very nicely to start wrapping this up, Clara. I think this is...
Wrap it up in my pony blanket.
Yeah. Great blanket, isn't it?
It is a great blanket, yeah. My back is sweaty.
Nice.
From this nice pony blanket.
Lovely.
But yes, social media is not the be-all and end-all.
I love what you're doing, and I think
to local farmers.
Very, very good. Speak to local farmers. I'm a big pusher of that.
Yeah.
I love back Manx Farm. I think it's great.
Getting your budgies and getting the sea.
Yes, amen. But that leads us very nicely to the final question of the podcast.
Oh, no.
Now, we ask this every time. I think we've kind of covered it in the sense of what we've been talking about there when it comes to changing the environment and things like that. But I would say the final question that I ask everybody is, if you could improve one thing about the Isle of Man, what would it be and why?
So I think to be truly proud of where I live on the Isle of Man, I would say exactly what we've just been talking about, and I would define it as closing the loop. So making everything more local and supporting local, being local, closing the loop, keep it in our little bubble.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, close the loop.
Is very
problem
good.
Solved.
Closed loop. Right, we need to get that picture somewhere in here, I reckon.
Close the loop.
Close
New
the
mantra.
Loop. Yeah.
Get a tattoo.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything
you.
to shout out? Anything that you want to point out? Any people to follow?
Shout out Recycle Collect and Back Manx Farming, and thanks for having me.
Perfect.
Oh, and Manx Tri Club. I definitely want to shout out Manx Tri Club.
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah. Shout out Manx Tri Club and all the Island Games athletes. Big shout out to them. If anyone wants to have a go at triathlon, which I think you're dead keen on.
Yeah, you know what? You've sold it to me.
Yeah, we've got a super sprint in July up in Ramsey in the Morag Park, and that's really nice. It's short and you'd be able to do it. Super cool. Good for new starters. So have a look at that. The Manx Tri Club page, the website, the Facebook, the social medias, even though I've just bashed Facebook.
Yeah.
The Manx Tri Club. And then in September, we've got a sprint and standard distance. So we have a couple of events coming up this year. If you want to have a go at triathlon, it is genuinely the nicest sporting community on the Isle of Man. Everyone will support you, and it's a great personal goal.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Clara. It's been an absolute pleasure, but I have
Pleasure.
one last thank you. Today, Herb couldn't be with us because he was away, and we have our good friend Joseph Cannell here. Thank you very much, Joseph, for covering the computer today.
Well done, Joseph.
It's been a pleasure having you here also. Cheers, Joe.
Thank you.
Perfect, Clara.
Cool.
Mate, what you've said there is crazy. I've never thought about it.